All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens. YouTube, PastorDowell here. Had questions come to me because people saw straightway security detail that's headed up by a retired airborne ranger, Brother Gideon. And a question come to me and wants to know, do we run any handgun optics, meaning red dot sights? At this particular time, we don't. But I can tell you one thing for sure. The wave of the future, just like it happened with rifles, is going to be red dot or some type of optics, because it's just simply a hell of a lot faster. You know, the ability to threat focus on your target to engage. As the old saying goes, milliseconds, that's my saying, matters when it comes to protecting and preserving you and your family. And of course, when you're talking about optics or red dot sights for a handgun, it can get quite expensive. I wouldn't recommend, personal experience, I wouldn't recommend going the cheap route. And of course, the way I'm going to outfit the brethren here straightway on the community here is we're probably going to go with the Trigger John RMR Type 2 adjustable. We're probably going to do that. Of course, you have your pro and cons. Now, most people, I'm going to say stuff that most people just don't know. You got your 1-dot MOA. And of course, MOA means minute of angle. And of course, that's another whole video that's going to take to explain that. I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. Of course, you would have to buy a modified slide, either from the Glock store or Optics Planet or something like that, in order to be able to mount these particular optics. Myself personally, and I'm going to say because my eyes are getting a lot older, it's amazing what goes on with these eyes. I'm probably going to go with the 6.5. Now, don't get me wrong, I may change my mind and then go with the 3.25 MOA, and the reason being is because it's a smaller dot. All right, it's a smaller dot, but if it's adjustable, which it is, you can actually dial it up and get close to the 6.5. Now, the reason why I'm leaning towards the 6.5 Trigiton RMR Type 2 is because if you dial it up, if you dial it down, you've got the best of both worlds. You got the 3.25 and then you have the 6.5. And they're almost the same size as the front sight post that all of us are accustomed to shooting with anyway. So, and then again, if you dial down to 6.5, you understand, I mean, you won't get the 3.25. So with the 3.25, you got the best of both worlds. But the truth is, let's just go ahead and be real. You shouldn't be sitting up there shooting targets at 100 yards or 100 meters with a handgun. You just simply shouldn't be doing it. It's for close quarter combat, period, point blank. The things I do advise everybody to try to dry fire and practice on at home is actually getting used to using both eyes open. Now, you have to understand, you've already been trained on iron sights. All of us been trained on iron sights. And of course, with a rifle, you know, you usually have that one eye closed. It depends on which side you are. Of course, if you like old PastorDowell, you're ambidextrous. You can shoot left or right. I qualified expert many times, numerous of times in the military, both left and right hand. It will make no difference to me. However, you want to get used to shooting with both eyes open, and the reason why you want to get used to shooting with both eyes open is because you need to be able to, and let me say this again, you need to be able to understand that when you have a red dot on optic, are you following me? You're not looking at the red dot, you're not looking at the optic, you're looking at the target, and you're putting the optic or the red dot on the target. And that has to be practiced. That has to be practiced. You know, here straightway, myself, the brethren, what we'll do is we'll sit back there. We'll put 30 rounds, let me give you an example. We'll put 30 rounds inside of our AR-15s, right? And me, myself, I'll sit there in the house at times, just sit up there and just constantly do up drills. Then I'm out constantly doing up drills. I'm constantly bringing it up. Or we'll take, pow, put the safety on, pull out, pow, pow. pow. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're trying to build up a muscle memory. I'm sure that y'all familiar with muscle memories and many, many things. So what we're doing is trying to build up a muscle memory, and in building up that muscle memory, we are actually improving our time in order to engage the target. Is that making sense? We're improving the time in order to engage the target. Okay? So now, as far as trying to co-witness the actual optics or red dot with iron sights, I'm sure it could be possible in some, but from what I've seen, when I've actually handled a few guns at a range with some people that did have it, is I noticed that even with the Tridgeton, Tridgeton night glow sights, they're a little bit taller and stuff, and so they can get pretty close. Well, but the ideal is, and this is what personally we're going to be doing, if the optics ever go down, we are going to continue. We're going to keep our iron sights on there. And you keep your iron sights on there as backups, the same way you would with your AR-15. You don't ever, ever, ever want to be without sights anyway, shape, fashion, or form. All right? So, co-witnessing, don't worry about all this other stuff right now. All right? Again, when you're looking for a red dot or optic, you're not sitting up here looking to try to shoot or engage a target past 100 meters. Pistols are just simply not meant for that, okay? All right, it's just simply not meant for that at all. So go on YouTube. Here, there are plenty more people that are a hell of a lot more informed than I am concerning optics and red dots and stuff like this. I'm just telling you my advice, what I'm leaning towards. And I think that after all my due diligence and research, that I've got it pretty much narrowed down to what would actually suit my needs or our needs here. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you that the Tridgeton is pricey. It's really pricey. You're probably going to be upwards of $500 just for a sight. But you got to ask yourself, is it really truly worth it? To me, it is worth it. Now, what I normally do is I take money whenever I get it in. It's personal to me from my own business, and I'll set a little bit aside here, and I'll set a little bit aside there, and a little bit aside here until I get enough to be able to buy, because everybody just can't go drop $500 down on some optics or a sight just like that. Everybody just don't have it like that, okay? All right, so we went over red dot sights. We went over the importance of both eyes open. We went on the importance of building muscle memory by doing up drills. We went over quite a few things here. And I hope that I've said something. We went over co-witnessing, iron sights, and reference to red dot, which I don't think is going to be possible, but hey, I could be wrong, because you don't want the optics, you want to be able to have a clear line of sight. You don't want the optics interfering with the iron sights. But I hope that I've said something to at least get you started. Myself and Brother Gideon was speaking about this. I think, as a matter of fact, the last time we was here before we went to Detroit, and he's actually leaning that way himself. I've been leaning that way for quite some time. Just hadn't pulled the trigger on it quite all the way just yet. I'm only giving you the experience of what I have actually been able to use when shooting with someone at the range who has already had the setup. All right, so anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Y'all have a good, good weekend. And for those of us who keep the commandments, Shabbat Shalom. King coming.